and TED Fund on 5 higher institutions establishment bills. Public hearing convened by the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education and TED Fund on the 5 bills. The committee highlighted the peculiarities of these higher institutions when established.
A bill, University of History, Archaeology and Education, NTA, Kwara State Establishment Act Bill 2021, SB 328, sponsored by Senator Oyedeola Isa. Federal Polytechnic Kano Establishment Bill 2019, SB, sponsored by Senator Barrow Jibrin and myself. Federal University of Education of Kenya, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2020, SB 933, sponsored by Senator Yakubu Hussein. The establishment of the above tertiary institution will go a long way to mitigate the shortage of well-trained manpower needs of the schools and have the potential of benefiting the people of Nigeria. As the committee strives to provide legal framework for this institution, there is no doubt that this respective establishments will improve the overall quality of education and elevate it to international based standard. Education is the backbone of every society, and this bill therefore seeks to strengthen these pillars for the enhancement and development of our great country. However, the viability and sustainability of this prospective institution is a shared responsibility for all of us as stakeholders that require mutual and collective support and cooperation at all times. Hence, the need to greater input for everyone in order to avail the average Nigerian the opportunity to gain access to education. The Committee on Tertiary Institution and TED Fund is therefore affirming its commitment to ensuring legislation that will provide sound and sustainable legislative framework for the education sector. I therefore urge you to make positive contribution towards achieving the desired objective for which this bill are subjected to this public hearing. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on this note, the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institution and TED Fund will leave no stone unturned in its commitment to improving the educational sector of the country for a better tomorrow. Thank you all.
I am pleased to be with you for the public hearing of 5 crucial bills on the proposed establishment of 5 institutions across different parts of the country. The bills include Federal University of Health Sciences, Azare, Bauchi State, the Federal College of Education, Jama'ah, Bauchi State, and the University of History, Archaeology and Education, SCA, Kwara State. The other 2 are Federal Polytechnic, Cabo, and the Federal University of Education, Okene, Kogi State. What this means is that we are reflecting on our educational needs and are concerned about how to remedy limitations of spread and inclusion in items in terms of the kinds of institutions we need. It is also an evidence of continuous efforts at growing opportunities for human capacity development for a nation still in search of social and economic advancement. The proposals are therefore appropriate, considering the regular prerequisite to evaluate requirement alongside the possibility of meeting the demands. It is, however, one thing to imagine an institution and another thing to conclude on the possibility of actual formation. In doing this, we are explaining the ideas behind the proposal or opening them up for further development just in case. I therefore thank you for your presence here today, just as I am confident we shall do justice to the bills as stakeholders in the development of a nation. The Senate Committee on Tertiary Education and Trust Fund is well prepared for this event, and I urge us all to take advantage of the opportunity to be heard. It is on this note that I welcome all of you on behalf of the Senate President and to declare this hearing open. God bless you all. God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
We are on this side of the table very, very excited and happy that we invited the general public, we invited the stakeholders in terms of university and other tertiary institutions, education. And we are pleased to say that the response by the general public and by the stakeholders is quite impressive. Therefore, we are pleased and happy to receive you all and to assure you that we are alive to our own responsibility in the Senate for the improvement of education and other services which the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria bestowed on us in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. So I rise here to give votes of thanks for the opening of this public hearing, and the session will start very soon and will take them in order on which they are listed in the timetable or program, which you may not have, but we have here. And we're starting with the Federal University of Sciences, Azare, and then the College of Education, Jema'are, and then goes down, and we have about 5 or so of them to discuss, and we hope that you will all accept our recommendation, since we have not received any petition against any of such institutions.
We move to the University of History, Archaeology and Education, SA, Kwara State, sponsored by Senator Oyelola Isa Ashiru.
The University of History, Archaeology and Education SA Kwara State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Lola Ashiru, is expected to catalyze archaeological activities around the first museum in Nigeria, SA Museum, established in 1945.
We want to build a university that will concentrate on the historical accounts of the country and the world, as well as archaeological research all over the world, and education. This being the case, we want to focus especially around the SA Museum, where we have the first national museum in Nigeria, built in 1945. Towards 2004 to 2009, there have been international conferences and workshops to see a way to build a federal university around this museum. And we thank God that the work is going on, and the efforts of our Senator Ola Ashiru, who has gone through his colleagues and brought this to the end. It is our belief that with a university of this nature, we will have an archive, a research center that will concentrate on archaeological findings and historical findings. Of course, we expect that there will be related courses to these major disciplines, such as hospitality and tourism, such as forensic science, such as computer science, courses in Faculty of Arts and Education, and courses in social and management sciences, for instance, accounting forensics. It is our plea and prayer that in a short while, we will have a university, a federal university, established in Ise land, concentrating on history, archaeology, and education. Thank you very much.
The establishment of the University of History, Archaeology, and Education in this year is expected, among other things, to promote a comprehensive awareness about local indigenous knowledge and cultural resources of the Nigerian peoples. This awareness is long overdue because, to a very large extent, the cultural and indigenous knowledge systems of the Nigerian peoples and indeed of African peoples have not been adequately analyzed for their contributions to national development programs to be fully appreciated. The curricular contents of the proposed university will in no small measure promote this much needed awareness about the resources of history and archaeology and the great potentials they portend for a national development that caters for grassroots mobilization of the majority of our peoples who are the custodians of a very significant proportion of items of our cultural and natural heritage. Therefore, it is emphasized here that the basic concepts of history and archaeology, cool African indigenous knowledge systems, hereafter referred to as AIKS, could be mobilized towards appreciating Nigeria's heritage, both past and present, and how this could be deployed for practical sustainability development, not only in Nigeria, but also in the West African sub-region and indeed the whole of Africa. In addition, the curriculum contents of the proposed university is expected to articulate practical applications of the knowledge systems of our peoples in addressing the catalog of national developmental challenges confronting our nation, the West African sub-region, and Africa in general. This homegrown practical approach could be sustainably deployed in the various development protocols of African nations across board. In conclusion, one pertinent question that is set to be addressed by the university is thus, how do we validate and protect the indigenous knowledge systems of our Nigerian and African peoples, and therefore develop a global partnership for development? And therefore, that is why the reliance on homegrown practical solution can help instantiate a process of dismantling the remnants of colonial fever, in parentheses, still plaguing all facets of our educational system in the country today. The University of History, Archaeology and Education is set to address above mentioned questions from four major perspectives. The first is placing emphasis on definitions, meanings, and challenges of AIKS as byproducts of history and archaeology. The second is to vigorously interrogate the interface between AIKS and history and archaeology, insofar as most of the byproducts of AIKS end up as part and parcel of historical and archaeological records. The third perspective will attempt to highlight the contributions of history and archaeology in a proper understanding of Africa's past, present, and future. And lastly, the fourth perspective will focus on the different components of history and archaeology vis-a-vis environment, technology, health, food security, and spirituality, among others, and how this relates to an enduring day-to-day lives and living in our society. I thank you, sir, for listening. That we have here the PAMSEC, Minister of Culture, the Director General, National Commission for Museums and Monuments, and the leadership of the Historical Society of Nigeria, past president and the current one. We also have colleagues from the Archaeological Society. This shows an endorsement of what we seek to do in ACA, and it shall be done. And to be to the benefit of the universe, starting from ACA itself. Let me say one or two things about ACA. When the museum was established in 1945, and the first museum in Nigeria, it is because it represents one of the wonderful opportunities to have information about Nigeria, about Africa, more than 1,000 years ago. The dates we have for ACA spans from 11th century AD to about the 15th century. And when I established a university there, we are going to be impacting on the younger generation the essence of what Nigerian society was more than 1,000 years ago. What impresses me most about that museum is that to see almost the totality of the Nigerian society represented in more than 1,000 stone objects. If you go there, and I hope you do go occasionally, you will see your cap, you see everything, the beauty of African society represented in what I call the vestiges of our cultural heritage. I do plead that we give it all the serious attention it deserves, and to be to the benefit of our children and children yet to be born, to know the foundations of our heritage. I thank you all for listening.
A lot have been said. We have submitted also our memorandum to the committee. But just to say a little, if you know where you are coming from, you surely know where you are going. And that's history. So the establishment of the University of History, Archaeology and Education in a state, Kwara State, is very important and key to us. Why? A lot of times, the children have forgotten what history is all about. A lot of times, we don't honor our culture. And in Nigeria today, we don't have a single university that is specialized in history, archaeology, and education. So on this note, and on behalf of my Honorable Minister, I want to say that as stakeholders, we are really in support of the establishment of this university.
Thank you, Madam Famsek.
In fact, I should have said more, but for the opportunity given, I want to thank you all for listening.
When this issue was raised, we are speaking to bill number 3. We are here as stakeholders. As a society, Historical Society of Nigeria was established in 1955. We pride ourselves as the oldest professional body in Nigeria. When the bill issue was raised, we immediately decided in council that we will come here and give it full support for at least 2 reasons. Number one, if you have been following what has happened to history, for about 3 decades, it was yanked off the syllabus of junior secondary school. It took this society a very serious effort to ensure that it partners with stakeholders and get it back into the curriculum of schools. As we are talking now, we are thinking of a situation where we will get to a point where at the National Assembly, there will be a situation at some point where history will be made compulsory at all levels like it is in other countries. So this bill is a recognition of the place that history has been elevated to. And I want to thank this assembly for this effort that it has made, and the sponsors of those bills for making sure that at least we have something that will begin to tell us that, look, history as a body of knowledge is crucial to national development and it will be protected. Number two, We are also interested in the bill because it brings into our national consciousness the place of history in national development. For that reason, the Council of Historical Society of Nigeria, represented here by some past presidents and members of council, led by myself, the national president, support this bill and pray that the committee does whatever it can do to ensure that it is passed to the glory of God. Thank you very much.
Rest assured that we will do just that. That's why it was able to scale all the three readings. We go for election. If you don't come back, that bill is dead. And any member who wants to will start from first reading again. So that's how we do. So any bill you see here, it as a result of rigorous effort being put in by either a senator or a House of Representative member.
The Federal University of Health Sciences, Azare, Federal College of Education, Jama'a, Bauchi State, and the Federal Polytechnic, Kabo, Kano State Establishment bills, sponsored by Senator Barau Jibrin, also received public input.
Like I said, this is an executive bill sponsored by Senator Barau Jibrin. However, we are not, as at this point in time, in receipt of any petition. And we are willing, as a committee, to give each and every individual Nigerian his right to speak either for or against. So if there is anybody with any petition or want to speak against the institution, please, you are free to come here and forward your name. We will consider you and give you time.
Of all the rules given to us this morning, the most difficult to adhere to is the no clapping rule. This is because we are on a public hearing. I am here mandated by the committee and the community of the northeastern state in general, Bauchi State in particular, and specifically Azare, to stand before you with deepest sense of humility and responsibility to make a case for the establishment of the University of Health Science in Azare. History is repeating itself. About 70 years ago, east of Kano and west of Maiduguri, there was only one general hospital located in Azare, east of Kano and north of Maiduguri. Today we are having a university where east of Kano and west of Maiduguri, it is of its kind, a distinctive university that will now face the challenges of Northeast, of poverty, maternal health care, all other human development index. It is a well-known fact that the northeastern part of this country is its lowest ebb. Therefore, we feel that this is a university coming at the right time, and in due course, some of the statistics will be given as to why this university is so important. We are going to really support not only the establishment but the sustenance of this university through community effort. In this regard, it is my pleasure to convey the full appreciation of all our traditional rulers, not only from Bauchi State, areas of Bauchi, Katagum, Misau, Jama'are, Nungi, and Das, but also the adjoining areas of Fika, Bade, Hadeja, and Dutse, who would definitely enjoy the services of this university. We are going to assure the Senate that in full appreciation of your determination to see to the establishment of projects that will stand the test of time, your names will never be forgotten. Our special appreciation goes to my brother, distinguished Senator Jibril Barau, who sponsored this bill. Kabo and Azare are one and the same thing. And all the 5 bills that are on today are fully supported by the Northeast and our delegation. Okene and the SA and Kogi and Kwara states have been our traditional source of teachers since we were young, and we are, without any doubt, in support of creation of these universities and the College of Education, as the case may be. Distinguished Senator Chairman, may I, with deeper sense of responsibility again, plead that for a university to stand the test of time, it has to be fully established. We are therefore urging you to pass the bill into law so that the President will make it an act by his consent. I thank you sincerely and most responsibly. Thank you, sir.
It's easy to justify the establishment of the Federal University of Health Sciences, Azare, because its stakeholders would not just be limited to Azare, Bauchi State, the Northeast, but spans the entire country, Nigeria. We live at a time where the health indices of this country are still dismal. For example, we know that the maternal mortality rate can be as high as 2,849 per 100,000 in some parts of the Northeast, where this university is situated. While the WHO recommends a doctor-to-patient ratio of 1 to 400, we are still at a level of 1 to 4,000, up to, in some locations, 1 to 600. Therefore, establishing specialized universities, particularly University of Health Sciences, among such specialized universities is undoubtedly a great milestone in the development of this country. This university is poised to provide high-quality manpower, not just for this country, but internationally, as it is structured and formed in such a way that not does it only have local collaborations, but local and international collaborations, so that its graduates will be able to compete with any graduates anywhere in the world in both quality of care, research, and the kind of community service they give. I believe that with the establishment of this university, by passing this bill today, Mr. Chairman, sir, you'll be doing a great service to this country and to humanity at large. By the grace of God, by passing this bill, the seeds you sow today, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, will fruit to provide not just this country, but the whole world and humanity with high quality health graduates that will impact positively on the quality of care they give to humanity. Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished senators, all stakeholders here present, we thank you very much for deeming it necessary to have this public hearing in order to pass this bill. Thank you very much.
If there is anybody speaking against the establishment of Azare, please, he should come forward. Please. If you don't want to come forward, you have your memoranda against the establishment, please, let's have it. We want to be as fair as possible. You might be doing this at your own risk anyway. It's really going to be abnormal for anybody to oppose an establishment on any institution. However, it is your right to do that if you want to. So we have 2 weeks window from today that you can submit your memoranda, and we'll take it and we'll consider your opinion, inshallah. Thank you so much. We'll move to the next bill, which is a bill for the establishment of Federal College of Education, Jama'ari, Bauchi State, sponsored by distinguished Senator Barrow Jibril. The first bill applied to the second one. If you have any objection or if you have any memoranda, our secretariat is open for the next 2 weeks.
On behalf of the Kano North Senatorial Zone intellectuals, students and youth group, business community and traditional rulers and other committed supporters of the Federal Polytechnic Cabo, it is my singular honor and privilege to be given this rare opportunity to make this presentation to the distinguished Senate Committee on TED Fund and Tertiary Institutions, conveying our support for the passage of the Federal Polytechnic Cabo Establishment Bill 2022 in this memorandum referred to as Fed-POCAB Bill. It's an abbreviation of the Federal Polytechnic Cabo Bill, Fed-POCAB Bill. Due to want of time and for the purpose of brevity, we have narrowed down this presentation into the following parts. Mr. Chairman, the Fed-POCAB Bill has a long history in the Senate, spanning several years, sponsored by our distinguished senator, an erudite senator, Senator Barrow Jibril, one of our own, very active, very effective. We like him and he likes us. The bill seeks to primarily address the existing imbalance and marginalization of Kano North in terms of distribution and availability of higher institutions of learning over the years, especially of institutions such as the politics in Kano. By establishing a federal institution in Cabo, this imbalance will be corrected by the Senate as well as the nation itself. Doing so will provide full-time courses in technology, applied science, management, and for related fields, and to make provision for the general administration of the institution. It is important to place on record that since the executive approval of the establishment of the Fed-POCAB has already been given by Mr. President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, sometimes this year, the passage of this bill is intended to give the statutory recognition and backing to the full operation and commencement of the Polytechnic. How the bill is beneficial to the people of Kano State and Nigeria at large. The bill, when passed, will have a number of direct benefits to the nation, including the following. 1. Addressing existing imbalance in the distribution of tertiary institutions in Kano State. Without further rhetorics, we have agreed that Kano North has already been left behind in terms of availability of federal tertiary institutions. So this bill is really very of utmost importance. Mr. Chairman, sir, Kano State, like other states in Nigeria, comprises 3 senatorial districts, namely Kano North, Kano South, and Kano Central. While Kano Central currently has a lion's share in terms of the distribution of institutions of higher learning owned by the federal and state government or private entities in the state, the other 2 senatorial districts are left behind. So the other 2 senatorial districts, the education needs of the teeming youth from these districts. The passage of this bill would therefore be a step in the right direction in addressing this imbalance. Bringing education closer to the youth, non-power, education, creating youth employment, reduction of problem of brain drain, and the problem of banditry and issues of lack of education. It is on the basis of the foregoing that I submit this memo on behalf of the entire youth of Kabo community, Kano North Senatorial District, and Kano State in general in support of this bill. I thank you so very much for this rare opportunity and privilege.
There is going to be cultural understanding between the host community and various people that will come from various areas so as to have national integration for sustainable development. Besides these benefits, there are political developments that will be realized through this establishment of this. Training of future leaders will also help in providing leadership that will change the trend of challenges facing our country through providing a kind of training in science and technology so as to create a kind of youth that will serve as future leaders in the country. Conclusively, I would like to appreciate all persons that contributed in one way or the other in ensuring the success of the establishment of this institution. Prominent among them is Mr. President Muhammad Buhari, for approving this bill, as well as the President of the Senate, Senator Ahmed Lawan, PhD, CON, for giving room to have this bill realistic. Next is the chairman of the committee in the person of Senator Ahmed Babaketa, who, without his support and cooperation, this thing will not see the light of the day. And other senators of this hallowed chamber that contributed to support the realization of this bill, we say a very big thank you.
Thank you
that.
so much.
Lastly, to our own, who not only develop our area in terms of education, in terms of infrastructures, in terms of various sectors of the economy, we say a very big thank you for that. Finally, the host community is ready to tender its unalloyed support in maximizing the potentials attached to this giant institution of higher learning. We say a very big thank you, and we assure the hallowed chamber that we will integrate all strata of the people.
Thank you,
business community, the academia, the youth, the women, and all other people of the economic to come and join hands together and give our own support.
Participants also supported the Federal University of Education Okene Kogi State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Yakubu Oseni.
I want to especially commend our Senator Yakubu Oseni, for this wonderful feat. The establishment of Federal College of Education, Federal University of Education Okene, is one that has been a long aspiration of the people of this senatorial zone. I recall that in several visits I make to His Royal Highness, the Hilo of Iberland, has always reminded me that one of the important things he wants to see happen in his lifetime is the establishment of Federal University of Education Okene. And I think with this giant stride by our distinguished senator, I'm very sure that he's going to have a very, very special welcome after this public hearing. The Federal University of Education, when established, is going to solve a lot of teacher development issues as far as the Nigerian tertiary education system is concerned. We want to put it on record
that Federal College of Education, Okene, is in support, total support of this bill, and based on the fact that we have abundant human and material resources, which is going to be is going to play a very pivotal supportive role for the establishment of this university. I want to assure you that this university, when established, is going to be strategically located and seen, because Okene, is a town that borders several states, and with that advantage, we have so many group of people residing in Okene, and this is going to be a very important access to the development of the children and the youth. I want to assure you, sir, that this university, when established, is going to be very, very supportive of the existing structures we have in the college. And on this note, I want to also state that the details of our memorandum is in the custody of the Secretariat, and all other explanations are well stated there.
PBS Senior Academics Education Association. This association consists of professors and also professors from instruction, including provost, vice chancellors, rectors, past and present, and all the CEOs of the Kogi Central District. I'm sadly here to represent all of them. I want to thank everybody most sincerely who are part of this assignment and all the efforts I have made to reach this. At that time, as recommended by the Ashby Commission, it began as a small college known as Federal Advanced Teachers College, primary and secondary schools in Kogi, Edo, Ondo, Ekiti, Benue, and Niger states, and even other states in the Federation. It was one of the few institutions producing NCE teachers in the middle for the whole Nigeria between the late 1970s and early 1990s. As opportunities opened up owing to demands from a cross-section of community, the ability of the college to run degree programs autonomously by becoming a University of Education. Graduates of their degree programs are also awarded first-class honors as other students in the University of Ibadan main campus. It is a college with enough facilities and personnel that can be upgraded to a full-fledged university without so much cost on the part of government, because all the facilities are there. Structure, even including staff as well. Infrastructure as well. It will expand access to teacher education program, especially now that there is high demand for university education by young secondary school teachers and leaders. On this note, I want to say that we should give that college the chance to perform as a full-fledged University of Education in the way that it has been going. In the case of access for students not only in Kogi but in all central states and all over Nigeria. Thank you very much for your attention.
I came here because I got a formal letter from you, from the committee, this committee, to come and make any contributions that would help the purpose of legitimizing, as far as I'm concerned, the process of emergence of a bill in respect of those 5 institutions that have been mentioned here. And it's by chance that of the 5, 2 are from my state. So you see, I have a number of additional reasons why I should come here. Mr. Chair, I cannot miss out the fact that you've given me a rare privilege of respect. And I want to thank you. It's always a privilege to serve our country. And at TED Fund, I had the privilege of intervening through the instrumentation of the TETFund Act of 2011 in respect of the beneficiary institutions. And you would appreciate that even for the purpose of the two federal institutions bills that are coming up, that happen to come from Bauchi State, the Federal University of Health Sciences, we heard from the Vice Chancellor earlier himself, but even before then, the Ajian Katagum, Alaji Yayele Ahmed, former SGF Head of Service and Minister of Defense. After he's spoken, some of us are not supposed to say anything, so I'm wearing a different cap. But let me say this, that seated here includes former Vice Chancellor, ATBU Bauchi, Professor Hamisu, many elders, of course, from Bauchi State that I recognize. They've come here because education means so much to us as it means for Nigeria. No mistake about it. My understanding of this is most of the institutions that are listed here in respect of the bill are specialized institutions. And for health, for instance, the Federal University of Health Sciences, Azare, you could never have too many universities of health sciences because the challenges of health are there. And one of the moments where we realized health means so much was 2 years ago when COVID-19 was ravaging the entire world. And so I want to say this, that I am supporting this bill to emerge as an act very soon because it addresses the issue of access, one, as well as addressing key issues in the various sectors by priority in our nation. Having said that, I want to recognize that we've heard from others speaking in respect of those institutions that have been established in their communities. There's no mistake about it. What we were able to do at TETFund, for which I had the privilege of working with this great committee, was to ensure that we apply the funds to change the circumstance of our tertiary institutions. Already these two institutions in Bauchi State, I visited with the former permanent secretary of education, architect Sonny Echeno. We physically went to the agri campus of Bauchi State University, Gadao, located in Jamare, and the governor agreed and approved that it be used as a takeoff campus for the FCE Jamare. But the other one also very important, of course, that's the very first, Federal University of Health Sciences, CAPS Azare, that has been a college of the Polytechnic, State Polytechnic, has been a beneficiary of TETFund. The governor also approved, and it is now the takeoff campus of the Federal University of Health Sciences. Ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't want to take your time beyond this. It's been a privilege. I thank all of you for coming, and we assure you whatever role that we have played, we are playing now, we hope to play in the future. We want to make sure that we play in such a manner. Thank you very much.
The need to create access to qualitative education can never be underscored. The education family would love to have good quality universities, colleges of education, polytechnics within access of every Nigerian, because as we all know, without education, we cannot really progress. However, the issue of qualitative education is speaking to good infrastructure, good funding, good human capital to occupy and provide and project what these institutions hope to give to the student. Our distinguished chairman has said should pass. But we all know already the federal government has, by policy, created Federal University of Health Sciences Azare, which has just been spoken about by my prof. And at least say that what we are doing here is a formality of clothing it with legal status. And we don't have any problem with that. The other thing is just a matter of details. which, because I happen to be a draftsman, so I have to pick holes in tea. Now, on the issue of Federal University of Education, Okene, of course, Federal College of Education, Okene, is already our establishment, and it's not out of place for a child to wish to grow to become issues that the National Assembly, the ministry, and the community concerned can always reach a consensus. At the appropriate time, all things always work together for good. Now, we would also like to say that in respect of the Federal University of History and Archaeology. As a matter of fact, personally, I'm the one who was always quarreling about why history should get out of the curriculum. I'm very happy that it has come back into the curriculum. But then history is a subject which is done by many universities. The Constitution, like former speakers have said, recognizes the need to establish specialized universities. But like we know, federal government cannot carry everything. I'm sure that is why the National Assembly, in crafting the Constitution, was very ably put education in the concurrent list. I want to even have a time to attend that University of Archaeology, even in my old age. But if it cannot come now, if federal government cannot carry it now, a state government can carry it. If a state government cannot carry it, even a local government can carry it. A private person can establish it. A civil society can establish it. Delve into the interest, expand the fora. We shouldn't think that federal government will be able to carry this load. I'm not saying, the ministry is not saying that it is not a good venture. All it is saying that at this appropriate time, do we have the infrastructure, the funding, the personality, the personnel, and the wherewithal to accommodate it? History and archaeology is not a small thing. Before you can dig up one artifact from the ground, my chairman, you know it takes time. Talk less of establishing a whole university. We are not running it down, but we are simply saying the Senate committee should look at it, put it in appropriate locations and time, and let's see how it goes. Based on that, my minister says he's going to send in fact, why we have not submitted a memorandum is because for this one, he insists on reading it to be sure we don't misquote him. You will get it detail for detail. The last thing I will add is that colleges of education, this Senate, this committee has done a very good work in reviewing the Federal College of Education Act 1986 to streamline it and to put all colleges of education under a framework that will not allow conflict of roles. It is on this note that I said, in establishing colleges of education, you might want to look into this other act which you are reviewing and streamlining. It might be easier to amend that act to put all new colleges of education under it to avoid having bills that may be discordant. Thank you very much.
Working with NTC, National Commission of Colleges of Education, to make sure that all new established colleges of education are coming under one roof. Thank you for this wonderful comment. Like I said earlier on, the tradition has always been that we recognize, especially the traditional title holder, the dignitaries that come from various senatorial constituencies of this nation. But unfortunately, we had 5 bills. But before then, came here and conducted a public hearing, visibly, and there was no objection to any of the 5 bills. Is there any dissenting view on the establishment of these bills? Please, don't shy away. If you think you don't want to come in front here and speak at the podium, you are at liberty to meet the secretariat and submit your memorandum. But if you think you are bold enough to come forward, the podium is for you. Thank you so much. Usually when we have this number of bills, it's usually till 7, 8 o'clock in the night. But today, I think with the cooperation and the single fact that we never had anybody opposing these bills, it was very smooth and I believe successful. Be rest assured that we will not leave any of turn on turn till when we get this institution up and running. On this note, except if there is any other reason, I will declare the public hearing closed.
Coming up next is the briefing by the Chairman Senate Committee of Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, who spoke on some of the achievements of the 9th Senate.
Part of the legislative agenda that we set for ourselves was to run a legislature that will work for Nigerians. On quoting us. And by having a legislature that will work for Nigerians, we had in mind that there were a number of issues that Nigerians had, longed to have addressed through legislative intervention or legislative action, but had become almost impossible. We were determined to address such issues. One of such issues was to address our economy in a way that we'll be able to go beyond the economy itself being a monolithic economy that runs only on crude oil, to ensuring that we're able to diversify it, to bring on board critical sectors like agriculture and mineral development. And by virtue of some legislative action, amendment to our existing laws, and oversight authorities, we were able to do that. Even though, our efforts at diversifying the economy, which is also part of the efforts of the Buhari administration at diversifying the economy, had become checkmated by the situation of insecurity, where people had to abandon their farmlands and mineral development or the mining sites for reasons of insecurity, which is a major blow, to that desire. And of course, no one is giving up on that. Again, through legislative action, we also wanted to ensure that we were able to address the oil and gas sector, of our economy, which again, like I said, as a monolithic economy, accounted for well over 80% of our national revenue. We wanted to be able to address that through the passage of what we call the Petroleum Industry Bill. We made that clear at the beginning of this legislative assembly. And to the glory of God, we worked so hard to achieve that. Today, we have the petroleum trying to change a lot of things through the legislative action. We also felt that there is a need to stabilize as much as possible. No big man will be able to at least 2 or 3 other. We succeeded in passing the electoral bill, which again had been signed into law. And we were so determined to have this, and we're so committed to it, to the extent that a lot of Nigerians even will say that we members of the National Assembly, and we needed to prevent it. Public servants and all of whom will be further forms of technology into our electoral process. So through these, I believe that as an assembly, of the economy, the calls to prosecute and for AMCON to treat them. AMCON was going to end its mandate. I personally organized the parliament to pass this, and Mr. President, assemblies couldn't do much as they desired it. But the not too good news about it, I don't want to call it bad news, is that it's not going to be ready until the assembly. But again, she really need to achieve what will be a legacy aside to the manner was, which is making impeachment act bill that was passed, which also have been signed to law by Mr. President. We have done a lot, It's not as possible. We also have to never cause knowledge and confirmation process, of different judicial officers here. During the period under review, the last 3 years, I've been privileged to preside over the confirmation hearings of the President of the Court of Appeal, as well as the President, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court and the Chief Judge of the FCT High Court. All of those, let's read, criminal. And just about 2 weeks ago, we also just finished the confirmation hearing of the new Chief Justice at National Assembly to see to the improvement, continued improvement of the
organized in a way. Award of national honors by the executive. But I think every senator, if you are a 63-year-old person and you are recognized for doing something good, it's not because you are 63, that's why you did that good thing. It's a build-up foundation. And being in government is more difficult than being in opposition, because people don't want to hear anybody defending government positions. Then somebody say, these are the real representatives, because we believe that what happened in the past and the early part. In fact, each time I will stand out to speak in the 6th and the 7th Senate, Senator Smata Demi, Senator Aparide, Senator Lupobori, Senator Ogweze, and Polka will just start showing the red book, because they knew I was going to say something against government or against the president. So they will warn me, they will wave it, say, if you say anything, we'll call point of order. But God caught me when APC won the presidency and of course the majority in the Nigerian Assembly, and I became Senate leader. Now I have to start learning, because all my life for 16 years, I was just protect or project or promote government. We have to beg her, but activity as a Senate was the fight. And in fact, we turned down confirmations requests. Maybe Loretta is the only one because it was the one that was everywhere. But there were others that the names were simply quietly withdrawn because we said they will not fly. We just felt, by the grace of God, we will do so with our heads high, because we believe that we have done quite a lot. There are differences in opinion, but the history of the 9th Senate will not be left to people who had nothing to do with us to write it. We'll write our own history. We'll write our own history. We'll tell our own story of how we did things. And when we erred, we'll say we erred. And therefore, those who are coming in the 10th Senate should learn lessons from what we have done. It's not everything that we did was okay. Some things were okay, some were not, because we are human beings. But these awards that were given to 13 or 14 of us cannot be claimed by the 14 senators. None of us, and this is parliamentary practice, no one parliamentarian can succeed, no matter how brilliant that person, that parliamentarian is, without the others. No way. You may have the brightest drafted motion or the best bill. If your colleagues decide this bill will not pass, there's nothing you can do. And in fact, in the 7th Assembly, I used to call one section of the Senate a section I refer to as the axis of evil men. At that time, I used to call them evil men because people will say axis of evil. When you have axis of evil, it means you can have good people. At that time, in that axis, all the people in that axis, no, I can't say they are bad, but if they didn't like your motion, they will kill it. It will not fly. If they didn't like your bill, they will kill it. So if you have your bill, you go and talk to them. And they'll say, okay, no problem. Then you can go home and say, well, I have a good chance. But just apart, any parliamentarian that wants to succeed, he must have the support of other parliamentarians, no matter what. So if I have GCON today, it's not because I've excelled as an individual. It's not possible. Those with the CON, 12 of them, they wouldn't have excelled without the support of the other senators. So all combined, the GCON, the CON, are for all the senators of the 9th Assembly. We dedicate this national honors to all our colleagues, to the entire 9th Senate.
If any person will claim success in this democratic dispensation, I believe you are one of them. From 1999 till date, working tirelessly, researching on documents, drafting bills, proposing motions, and all that. I think the honor actually fits you. And I believe that you keep on. Your star is very bright. And I see it shining further. There are other opportunities, many great opportunities. Who knows when? Who knows how they will come? Just as you were not expecting GCON in 1999 or 2003 when I met you. You don't know what is coming on the way. But believe me, you are a great Nigerian.
In the period of inception of the 9th Senate, quite a lot has been achieved in terms of bills, in terms of cooperation, in terms of unity. These three alone are enough to give us all the necessary important things that we require. And because of that, we thank you very much. We dedicate this honor to the entire Senate of the National Assembly, because without every one of us, without every one senator, we wouldn't have succeeded, and this recognition wouldn't have come as it came now. And I believe that many more will definitely be on their way to getting different kind of honors. For His Excellency, I stand anywhere I am, I will say it, you are my pillar. And you are our pillar. And we believe this union have just started now. We shall use this to do more, to dedicate ourselves to doing the right thing, which has always been what the entire leadership of the 9th Assembly prophesied.
Senator Lawan and 11 other senators received different categories of national honors, which they dedicated to the 9th Senate. And this is why we call it a day on today's episode of the program from the National Assembly. I am Ignatius Nkwo. Enjoy the rest of our programs.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, Go TV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. And to watch NTA International in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, use the following satellite parameters. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.